Hello friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today I'm going to be talking about the latest Star Wars novel, Most Wanted. This is a young adult fiction. It was written by Rae Carson. You may be familiar with that name. She wrote a few of the kind of novellas that show up. The book itself tells the story of a young Han and Qi'ra as they're kind of coming up on Corellia. Now it shows really their dynamic and how it builds and how it kind of binds them a little bit. And it does introduce a few of the characteristics of both Han and, more importantly, Qi'ra. What the story does is it shows you what life was like for an orphan on the streets of Corellia. Even under the Empire, things aren't great, right? We know that. That's not news. Now, I do like it. It does kind of pursue some of the things that I wish, to be honest, that we saw in Solo. One of my biggest problems with, so far, the movies in general, this whole sequel trilogy that we're watching, is we don't get enough of the inner motivations as to what's driving these characters. Unfortunately, they're taking those major backstories out and they're putting them in books. And it makes the books that much more interesting to read, but at the same time, it makes the movies a little less compelling in my mind. What we see here is another one of these. They're pulling some very crucial character building moments out of the movies and putting them in the backstory, putting them in these books, which is fun for viewers like me who are going to read them. But it's frustrating because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing them take these really crucial moments out and put them in the books. Now, I'm going to kind of throw a spoiler out. It's only a semi-spoiler, so if you haven't seen Solo yet, based on ticket sales, I'm not sure that you're going to. But if you haven't seen Solo yet, I gotta say that it does define Qi'ra. This book does explain why Qi'ra does many of the things that she does. Qi'ra is a survivalist. Qi'ra is a survivor. She is the kind of character, she's the kind of person who will do and say anything to anyone to get them to do what they want. I will say, though, I do think that as much as I liked the book, as it was entertaining, it was enjoyable, there were definitely some really fun moments. It was pretty well paced throughout the story. There weren't, there weren't a lot of dull moments. And even those that were dull were used effectively in my mind. They were there to tell backstory. They were there to build character. It was done very well. It's not the best Star Wars book, but definitely there are some really good moments in it. There are a few key elements that I feel like connect the overall universe. And the first one is obviously we get Han's character, right? We get his backstory. We get a very hopeful, optimistic Han, right? Where his luck is still winning out. His luck is still, a positive force in his life. And because it is, he's happy about it, right? He's not, living large or anything like that, but he kind of feels like there's more out there and he's going to try. And no matter what happens is going to happen. And Han's going to be Han, and F it, I'm good. And that's kind of his motivation. That's kind of his mentality. And so you see a very optimistic Han in my mind. Maybe you guys, if you've read it, maybe you read it differently, but I read it as a very optimistic, positive looking Han. And then we see that Han play out in Solo. Now what's interesting is this whole book is all about how Qi'ra does not work and play well with others, right? And it takes her a very long time to really start to trust Han, right? And this is the first time that we really get some internal monologue for this character. And what's interesting about this story is it does provide some much needed depth to the character of Qi'ra. The story itself follows the events of a young Han and Qi'ra as they kind of make their way through an assignment that goes horribly wrong. They kind of realize that they're the only people that they can trust. So they decide to bring in a Rodian because why not have a Rodian? And he goes through and he's kind of this catalyst, this Rhodian, but we do, like I said before, we get a lot of qi'ra's character. We get why she's untrusting. We get why she's willing to betray. We get why she's doing the things that she's doing, right? That is a very, very interesting character. Additionally, kind of less important, we get some background on the White Worms, right? For those of you who've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The White Worms are essentially the gang that qi'ra and Han start off in the beginning of the movie. This is not a spoiler. However, we do get a lot of background on this gang. They're essentially a den of children thieves, right? They're like if Captain Hook were to steal babies and raise them to be pickpockets. I'm sure there's a book out there that's like literary that totally connects to this concept, but I just can't think of it right now. But we get a lot of background on that, and it's interesting. It very much is interesting. We also see how Han is willing to go with smugglers, how he's so willing to say, hey, you know, this is a life I've done before, I'm good, you know, I can do this. And he can, we know that he can. I'm going to say Most Wanted is probably a 6 out of 10. It's a fun book. It's actually a short book. It did provide some much needed information, and it was more than just character development that was left out of the movie. But it wasn't overly great. It wasn't so edge of your seat exciting. You couldn't put the book down. You couldn't stop listening to it. It could have been better, but at the same time, it could have been a lot worse. It's definitely not the worst Star Wars book that's been released in the new canon. It's definitely not the best. Now, that being said, guys, if you are interested in reading this book, you can check. I'll leave a link to Amazon or even other places. You guys probably know better than I. Many places to get it for free. But if you want to try a free subscription to Audible out, I will leave a link in the section below. Give it a shot. Listening to a Star Wars audiobook is just a great experience. I'm going to be doing another video on Last Shot, doing a recap of that. That is an adult novel. That is a book geared more towards the adult audience. This one is definitely geared more towards kids, but it's still a fun book to read. Leave a comment in the section below, guys. Like, subscribe, share. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. As always, my friends, stay nerdy.